Welcome, everyone. Okay, let's jump right in. You know what drives me absolutely crazy? Watching folks just throw their money at the stock market. It's like they're feeding coins into a slot machine, hoping for a jackpot, completely ignoring the basic foundational steps of actually building wealth. So, in today's explainer, we're breaking down the ultimate strategic hierarchy for wealth building. Seriously, if you tackle these financial steps in the wrong order, it's a massive mistake, a wealth draining mistake. Getting the sequence wrong can literally cost you tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. But if you embrace a disciplined, step-by-step sequence instead of speculative, wild investing, you are setting yourself up for absolute financial independence. $500. Let that sink in for a second. According to recent data, this shockingly tiny number is the median amount Americans have tucked away for an emergency. And you know what's crazier? It's actually down from $600 just a year ago. Literally 1 in 3 Americans doesn't have an emergency fund at all. Zero. Yet, a lot of these same folks are incredibly tempted to dive straight into the latest crypto craze or some hot individual stock because, well, it sounds exciting, right? But think about it like this. Trying to pick the next hot stock or crypto coin when you're carrying high-interest debt, it's exactly like buying a flashy Ferrari when you don't even have the cash to fix a broken transmission in your daily driver. If you're carrying a 22% credit card balance, trying to invest that money instead of paying off your debt is basically pouring your hard-earned cash straight into a leaky bucket. You are guaranteed to lose ground every single time. So here is our financial house blueprint. We've got a 4-step sequence today. Step 1, building a financial foundation. Step 2, capturing guaranteed free money. Step 3, the tax optimization zone. And Step 4, the final priority, taxable accounts. Let's start with step 1, building a financial foundation. Before anything else, you need that sweet, stable emergency fund. Vanguard actually did some fascinating research on this, and they found that having just $2,000 saved up for emergencies boosts your overall financial well-being score by a massive 21%. 21%! And that was literally the largest boost linked to any financial factor they looked at. Now, $2,000 might not sound like life-changing wealth, but the psychological impact, that safety net, it's enormous. Start with $1,000, build up to 1 month of expenses, and eventually aim for 3 to 6 months, depending on how stable your job is. Now, once you have that cash buffer, you've got to stop the bleeding. We're talking about the debt avalanche method. Step 1, list out all your debts and their interest rates. Step 2, pay the minimums on everything. Step 3, attack the debt with the highest interest rate with every extra dollar you have. Actually, think of it this way. Mathematically, eliminating a 22% credit card debt acts as an unbeatable guaranteed 22% return. Carrying that kind of debt while trying to invest, it's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack completely stuffed with heavy rocks. It's just financial cancer. Use the avalanche method and knock it out efficiently. Moving right along to step 2, capturing guaranteed free money. Okay, so this is the one beautiful exception to that pay off debt first rule. Sure, paying off a credit card gives you a guaranteed 22% return, which is amazing. But an employer-sponsored matching contribution, we are talking about immediate, risk-free gains of 50 to 100%. Let's say your employer matches 50 cents on the dollar up to 6% of your salary. That is a 50% immediate return. It is literal, actual free money just lying on the ground. You simply can't afford to leave it there. Contribute exactly enough to get that full match, and then redirect all your other cash right back to finishing off that high-interest debt. Up next, step 3, the tax optimization zone. So when you hit this zone, you're always going to face a classic dilemma. Ask yourself right now, do you want to pay taxes now, or do you want to pay them later? It's a simple question, right? But it has a slightly complicated answer, and it sits right at the heart of choosing between the 2 main types of individual retirement accounts. Let's break it down. You've got a traditional IRA, which lets you deduct contributions from your current taxable income. That gives you a nice tax break today, but you're going to pay taxes when you withdraw that money later in retirement. On the flip side, a Roth IRA makes you pay the taxes upfront, right now. But all your withdrawals in retirement are completely 100% tax-free. As a general rule of thumb, if you're a younger worker in your lower earning years, lean toward Roth because your taxes will probably only go up from here. But if you're a high earner currently peaking in your career, a traditional IRA is probably better to help reduce your current heavier tax burden. Next up in the optimization zone is the HSA, or Health Savings Account. This is a special tax-advantaged account specifically for folks with high-deductible health plans. Now, it does require that specific health plan to be eligible, so it's not for absolutely everyone. But if you are relatively healthy, this account is incredibly underutilized. It could honestly be your absolute best friend for retirement. And why is that? Because it is literally the Swiss Army knife of investing.
It has three unique, absolutely amazing benefits. First, you get a tax deduction on the way in, just like that traditional IRA. Second, your money experiences tax-free growth while it's invested. And third, and this is the real kicker here, you get completely tax-free withdrawals for medical expenses. It is the only account out there that gives you tax benefits on the way in, while it grows, and on the way out. Now let's talk about the stunning pro strategy behind this massive $400,000 figure. The trick is to pay your current medical expenses out of pocket if you can afford it and just leave the HSA money invested in the stock market to grow. Just keep your receipts because there is no time limit on reimbursing yourself later. Think about this. If you max out an HSA for 30 years, assuming a 7% return, you can create over $400,000 in tax-free money. And since the average retired couple will spend well over $300 grand on healthcare, this secret weapon makes those terrifying costs practically disappear. Finally, step 4, the final priority, taxable accounts. So the taxable brokerage account is basically the wild west of investing. People really love the flexibility here, but they completely forget about this sneaky little thing called tax drag. It's like running a race while someone keeps throwing sand in your shoes. That is the painful, everyday reality of a taxable account. Every single dividend payment, taxed. Every time you sell a stock for a gain, the IRS steps in and takes their cut. It just makes wealth building so much harder and slower than it needs to be. To put that into perspective, let's look at the numbers. If you invest $10,000 a year at 7% for 30 years in a tax-advantaged account, you're going to end up with around $944,000. Not bad at all. But put that exact same investment with the exact same return into a taxable brokerage account. After paying taxes on your dividends and capital gains along the way, you end up with closer to $700,000. That is nearly $250,000 difference. This is exactly why we always exhaust our tax-advantaged spaces before even thinking about a taxable account.
So the crucial point is knowing when to actually use them. Once you've done all that foundational work, the complete flexibility of a taxable account finally becomes a wonderful tool for your wealth. They are perfect for bridge funding if you're planning to retire early, before you're legally allowed to access your retirement accounts without a penalty. They're also great if you're saving up for a house down payment in the next 5 years or so. And they are fantastic for leaving money to your kids because they get what's called a step-up-in basis, which can eliminate capital gains taxes entirely. Which brings us to our final takeaway. Look, you've got to do the boring stuff first to build actual wealth. Building a solid financial foundation takes discipline. It really does. It means building that emergency fund, ruthlessly wiping out high-interest debt, grabbing every cent of that guaranteed employer match, and fully optimizing your taxes before you even glance at a regular brokerage account. It's a proven step-by-step hierarchy that works. It maximizes your long-term returns while shielding you from avoidable risks and unnecessary tax burdens. So I have to ask, are you ready to build your unshakable foundation today? I really hope this explainer has empowered you to just ignore all that get-rich-quick noise and confidently take these wealth-building steps in the smartest possible order. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today, and I'll see you on the next explainer.